All right, our next speaker is Jeff Lobb, and I know that we just introduced him, but just in the interest of just giving anybody who just walked in a little intro, I met Jeff Lobb at Inman, just like I've met a lot of interesting people over the years. And his wife is in the back of the room as well, supporting him. Hello, Tiffany. So Jeff is the CEO and president of SparkTank Media, which is a consultancy firm in the real estate realm. He does a lot of coaching to realtors, mortgage industry, title industry, et cetera. And as I said, he's been an agent, he's been a broker owner, he's seen every angle of this industry. And so today he's going to give us some tactical strategies on how to be a top producer. So I'm going to let you take it away.
So yes, I do have the pleasure of coaching teams, brokerages, agents, the mortgage industry. And I'm also a student of that too. If you're not a student, you're never really developing and growing. And by being that student, I take away from things that don't work, we take away things that are working. And I want to share with you some of the strategies that they're implementing and we're implementing. If I could just have the remote, it would be awesome. There it is. I was coming for it. Thank you. And we'll be able to just, give you the tactical stuff. I like to be able to create action, things that make money. It's never about a tool or a product. To me, it's about how do I use it to differentiate myself? How do I win that listing? If I'm competing with a top producer, how do I beat that top producer? I was a big listing agent in my day. To me, listings still drive the business. They're a catalyst for a lot of things. And now with today's social media, even more so. Right now, just before I even get into the presentation, if we're not leveraging the power of just one listing, when I say leverage the power, perception with social media is amazing right now. When I say perception, like one listing, we should be generating weeks worth of content around, because to the consumer, and I've heard this time and time again, like if I have that listing that I'm going on an appointment for or coming soon, and I make a post and I do some social stuff, and then I'm doing some pictures and photos of the house, and then I take that stuff and I make it a post, and then I actually take the listing and do an open house and I make a post, and then guess what? That's so far, I'm barely a week in. Imagine 2 more weeks down the road. What do you think the consumers are thinking on that end? Oh my God, Jeff is so busy. He's all over the place. He's got photos and video. Think about it, that was one listing. Right, that's without getting into anything deeper than that. But I think a lot of us right now, we come out of a market where we put the thing on the market and it was gone in hours, and we never took advantage of the opportunity to really market not only the home for the consumer, but ourselves and our brand, right? So we need to leverage that a little bit more and get back into that. So we don't need to see about me. Here's the biggest challenge I find with most top producers and even teams right now. 90% of this industry, if I asked you, where do they fall in line with their daily activities? Are they reactive or proactive? That's absolutely reactive. And that's the number one problem we're having is reactive sales, reactive business. And it's because of the word fear, and some of the things you're going to hear, we heard through the day today, it's because of fear. I could tell usually the successful real estate agents or the not so successful ones by a snapshot of their calendar. You give me 1 week of your calendar. Imagine I do this live sometimes, I won't do it to y'all. But imagine if I said, give me a screenshot of your whole next week, right now, next 7 days, what would I see? Now you might be busy, but are there gonna be gaps in your calendar? We all have gaps, but here's where we lose the money. We lose money in the gaps of our calendar. Because it's the productive things, it's that, why would an agent do 100 transactions a year in this market, and why does an agent do 10? It's what they do with the gaps in their calendar. And I'm not saying we won't be busy, but in 1 hour, am I doing the work that's finding new business? And that's what I look for in a calendar. How much new business, or I don't care if it doesn't have to be door knocking. And let's face it, in 1988, when I did start in a mustardy gold jacket, mustardy gold, 19 years old, looked like Doogie Howser walking down the street, knocking on doors, right? But it was uncomfortable. But you know what? I learned that was proactive. I controlled the business. Now, here's a big misconception I hear a lot of. But Jeff, I've been in the business 20 years, 30 years. Most of my business, or all my business, is by referral, which is great. We thrive on referral business. We all want it. But here's how I open your eyes. It's reactive. Do you know if they're going to call you today? Do you know if you're getting a referral tomorrow? We don't know that. When referrals come in, it's amazing. The best ever opportunity. We just don't know when it's going to happen or how many we're going to get. So they go into that cookie cutter mindset of, I'm going to do all my business here by referral. And they stop doing the important stuff, which is the hard work. This is an opportunity year. I heard the numbers. I made a prediction a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. I said 250,000 agents would be out of the business or in referral. I thought I was being aggressive. NAR came out and said, we went from 1.1 to 1.6 million, and NAR numbers, their numbers, they said 30% of their numbers are going to go down. That's more than mine. But that's the best thing ever that can happen for us. It's a cleansing. And we need that because we're going to go to work, we're going to dig deeper into a community, we're going to dig deeper into things, and we're going to find out how do we dominate our markets. The top producers right now either have some domination or finding ways to dominate their market. Now, domination doesn't happen overnight. When I say domination, 5, 10, 15% market share in a specific geographic farm. Geographic farming hasn't changed a lot other than the technology we used to get there. We still got to meet people. If I have 900 homes in there, I still got to find ways to meet them, get them to like me and trust me to do business. Now, if you happen to have market domination in any particular market, fantastic. We could duplicate that somewhere else. So you're never really done, right? We have people that have multiple markets. Now, if you want domination, here's the way I look at it. I treat real estate like a sport. I'm a big sports guy. I coach kids too. I coach football. I coach lacrosse. And you get a lot of joy out of watching that happen, but here's how it taught me some real estate ideas. To me, a good market area, a good strategic area, is what I would like to call a feeder program. It's a feeder place, meaning it may not be the highest price point I loved, but it has the most amount of activity. It's called churn, right? We've heard the term churn. I want the areas that have the most amount of churn so I can spend my time in there getting 5, 6, 7 transactions out of there a year. Because it's a feeder. Think about sports for a second. Take the sports. If you want to have a good program at the high level, and you have kids that get into the program at first and second grade, that go through the high school, that fuel all the colleges, that fuel the pros, there's a big difference in a kid that's been playing football since second grade versus a kid that walks on as a freshman going, I think I'm going to try this. Right? The feeder program fuels everything. So when you could build a feeder program that might not be the ideal price point you want, and I'm not saying you won't go 30 minutes or an hour to go sell any other home. I'm talking about getting domination in that core market. What it does is it gets people in the door because it's more affordable or it's the better price point or most activity. You do your job nurturing that relationship 2, 3 years later, they have more kids, life events happen, you get that listing back to the next bigger house that you upsell them to. Do your job there again 4 or 5 years later, because we're in the business this long, you get the next one too. But remember, where did it all start? It started at that feeder program. It started where, I think I have it here, there, started right there. So it becomes a catalyst, right? So if you could start to generate consistent sales or rentals out of a particular area and get domination, it's steadier cash flow. Because we know how cash flow is in real estate. It's painful some days, right? You've had peaks and valleys. How many of you have had 4 or 5 closings a month and then nothing for 2 or 3 months? We know that feeling, right? It's a pain point of mine. I made a living at this. So I just didn't want deeper valleys in the cash flow. So when I found consistency in that marketplace, it generated more cash flow, consistent, and I still went out and sold the bigger homes as they demanded. But that marketing opportunity created better cash flow for me. Now, what else do they do? I learned that I didn't love knocking on doors. Still do it. Some people do. God bless. Teach you how to do it, teach you what to say. It was shocking when someone actually said to me, yeah, come on in, take a look at the house. Back in like the 80s, you're like, really? Now? Come in? Like just walk in the door? They were that open back then, but we didn't have a fax machine or any other stuff, so we just did it. But does it still work today? Of course, you're talking to people. See, people think we're in the real estate business. We're not in the real estate business. Real estate's the product. The business, as we heard all day today, is still people. My job is to find new people. They just happen to live in the homes, rent the homes, and sell the homes that we want. And you know darn well this is true because you are the brand, and if you were really good at what you did and your clients love you now, you could move to the financial industry. They'd go buy stock from you there too. You could move to the insurance industry. They'd buy insurance from you there too because they like and trust you already. We just got to get to more people, and that's where we struggle every day. Like I joke all the time, one of my best prospecting and farming markets outside of my farm area used to be Dunkin' Donuts in my market. We didn't have Starbucks back then. Why? I watch people go through the drive-thru all day long. Where are they going? To the office with nobody there. And yet all the customers they want to market to are standing inside in line that live in all the townhomes that come out of that area. I'm like, well, where are you in a hurry to go to? To the office with no customers. And yet 50, 40 people standing in line going to work that live in those communities that I can say hello to, market myself to, and brand myself to are standing in line, and we're flying right past them. You see how it's upside down a little bit? So top producers have to go deeper into their community. Here's my strategy. Did you ever hear of WWJD? What Jesus do? All right, I'm gonna change up a little bit. WWJD, what would Jeff do? If you drop me in the middle of anywhere USA, now I'm from New Jersey, but if I started off in, I don't care, Denver, Colorado, I don't know a soul there, and I have to start prospecting like anybody else, right? We just gotta start. 30 some odd years of experience goes out the window because I still know what to do, but I gotta go do it. So here's what I would do. I learned, see if I can go back a slide. I learned if I go back to this group here and I said, okay, I gotta meet all those people and I can knock on doors for them. I can send my postcards in there with direct mail, do all that. And today, in today's world, by the way, if you're sending any direct mail, it still does work if you have a really good call to action, something that consumers actually want, giving them some value first instead of I just sold something, because that's great for branding, but it's not helping create opportunity. So what would I do? So I always say, look, I never loved prospecting homeowners that way, but what if I got to know and meet all the local business owners that surrounded that location where they go? I said, where do they go? Where do they go before work? Where do they go after work? Where can I find those people? And who else knows those people that I don't? So I did this pre-Facebook, but if I had to ask you, how many of you have a Facebook business page that's getting very little to no activity, or on a daily basis, below par on a business page? Pretty safe, right? It's on purpose, right? They don't want you to get eyeballs on there because it's meant for running ads, them making money. And by the way, it's totally fine too, because your business page is still valuable because at least it's found on Google when people search for you. So make sure your business page at least looks like you have street cred, because when it comes up in Google, it might be the 3rd or 4th place it ranks when someone searches your name. But other than that, it's not getting you activity. So in today's world, I would create a Facebook business page that was called, give me some of your towns, Short Hill, we're in Short Hills, right? Best of Short Hills. And I get a page, the Best of Short Hills. And I go outside that farm area, and you're my local pizzeria that delivers in there all day long, right? You're running business in there. I know they shop with you. You probably know not only them, you probably know 1,000 more people in this town that I don't. So here would be my simple conversation. Hey, my name is Jeff Lobb. I'm with XYZ Realty. Hey, listen, we just created this Facebook business page called The Best of Short Hills. And we sell a lot of real estate in Short Hills, and I think you do an awesome job. I've eaten your food. I see you cater. I would love to be able to promote you on my Facebook page called The Best of Short Hills to all my real estate clients and do some video stuff and help elevate you to my clients. Would that be okay? Now, in real life, if it was a real Italian guy in an Italian neighborhood with the Italian pizzeria with that attitude, what do you think he actually said to me in real life? He went, that sounds good, but how much? What's it gonna cost? Now, logically, that makes sense. Like, everyone's being sold. So actually, I didn't have a script for this. I just said, no, we don't sell anything. I said, we just happen to sell a lot of real estate, and I think you do an amazing job in town, and I just want to drive more people to you. Would that be okay? Now think about that. What is that called? Prospecting. Because I know he knows, or his spouse or whoever works there knows a lot more people than I do. Now, in this world today, it gives me more. It also, if I have the opportunity, I get to do a little bit of a video shoot with him on my iPhone or whatever device I have, and I do a little mini interview. Does that give me content? Yes. Local community content, because who's the expert of your local community? Supposed to be you, right? Us. It's us. So I'm using a vehicle of a Facebook business page to go deeper into the community to prospect. Now, it goes deeper than that. We've got people that have pages that are up that are not just community-based. I'm not saying go make posts about the stuff in your community. We don't need more posts. But it's about the opportunity to introduce yourself to give them value. And did I feel like I was giving you some value? If I took pictures of stuff and you and I hung out for a few minutes, we did a little video, what turns out in my real business turned out to be very successful, because every time I'd walk back in there, like, oh my God, Jeff, yeah. Like, I know he knew 5 or 6 other realtors, but my real estate guy's here. Like, oh, my guy's here. He'd have me come back in the kitchen. I'd be hanging out with the chefs. We'd take pictures in the back. Next thing you know, I'm taking pictures of the dishes he's cooking. He knows a lot of people. It turned into not only sales of homes, but other marketing opportunities that he got involved in, because I gave him value first. And you know what? It's not a secret. How many of you know Gary Vaynerchuk? Right? So I was fortunate when Gary Vee ran an event at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. It was a real estate event. I was one of the real estate speakers down that way. And it was when his book was coming out, Jab, 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 Right Hook. Same concept. Jab, 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 right hook is give them value. Go back and give them value. Part of that value wasn't like you got to put my cards up on your counter, you got to do this. This gave me an easy way to prospect with very little rejection. It gave me community connections, and now it's given me content for not only my social, but content that can go out my email marketing that's local based. I get 4 things done with one, and what's it cost me other than time? Still nothing, right? So all Marblehead's doing it. Here's another one. This is our clients down in Florida doing the exact same thing we're talking about right now. Very few people take the ideas and execute, they're executing. But here's a simple idea. They're going beyond like foods. You go meet this guy, the detail dude. Solo entrepreneur, same approach. My name is Jeff, I'm with so-and-so Realty. We have an awesome Facebook page, the best of Jupiter, Florida. I think you're doing a great job, I'd love to highlight. What does this guy do for a living? He's a mobile detailer for sports cars, boats, yachts, and aircraft. You think I want to tap into his database a little bit? You think he has a few contacts I might need to know? Who's out there offering to help him elevate his business every day when he's out there grinding, or who's trying to sell him something? So could he be good content? Matter of fact, my content with people like this would be, what car are you detailing this week? I will meet you there. Because I want to be in that picture too with the car. That's going to get some traction. And I just want to get him to know me as value. My best salespeople, meaning they didn't work for me, were landscapers, were people of trades that I promoted business and elevated them. And anytime the word real estate came up or a listing came up, it was, hey, have you talked to a realtor yet? You got to talk to my guy, Jeff. Right? So it's elevating other people, yet leveraging a social media page that's available, and we're using it as a vehicle and a tool. Simple. It's about execution. And I have content and presentations that go deeper than this, but for time purposes, you always have your foodies. There's a million things you can do with food. 3 best places in town to get a burger, best place to go watch football on a Sunday, millions of ways to elevate people's content, but it's about meeting those owners that know everybody else, right? Blow up your business. Next. Top producers are paying attention. Facebook, whether we like it or not, I mean, most of the stuff's on Instagram. Most people are moving towards TikTok. I get it. But there's a big core right now still on Facebook. But the problem is the algorithm doesn't feed me what I want to see. So when people make a post on social, let's just call it Facebook, they think it's out to the public. They think everyone sees it. And I'll tell you what taught me this lesson, a kick in my own butt, is I ran into a past client I was connected to, sold him a house. Husband and wife, retired. Husband loved the barn. He was tinkering around, doing some stuff. And when I ran into her 3 years later, I haven't talked to her, right? Because I'm sending email campaigns and but we weren't communicating. And I just said, hey, how's it going? How's John doing? Is he tinkering in the barn? And I can see as soon as I said, how's John doing? I could just see her face. Yeah, I could see your face. Right? I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you didn't hear about John? I'm like, she's like, he passed 6 months ago. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I feel like now, was that on Facebook? Yeah. Obituary, all this stuff about John. His illness was there. But you know what? The algorithm didn't feed it to me. I didn't see it. I wasn't paying attention because I shouldn't allow an algorithm to drive my business, because the number one thing we should be looking at social for is listening, meaning watching people's life events so we can be human, and real estate happens around life events. So you can create a Facebook list. It's the simplest thing ever. Instead of 20 minutes of your day going through a news feed, you go create a list in your friends categories, and you create a list of all the people that matter in your life. One list, past clients. Another list, people in my office. Another list, my family and friends. You just name the list, add them to the list, and instead of looking at the algorithm all day long, just go to your list like twice a week. And imagine if you said like and commented on people's stuff that you haven't seen, but now every week you're connecting with them. It feels like you haven't left them. But also when something happens in real life, you didn't miss it because they assumed you saw it. Now think about all the other opportunities that are good that are happening. Who's graduating? How about right now? Everyone in my age bracket right now, every one of my friends, same posts. My last kid's out to college. What do I do with this house? Oh my God, I feel lonely at home. I got this 4-bed, 2.5 bath, empty nester. Like, we should be, I mean, there's dozens of those posts happening right now. They're probably going to sell a house soon. We should probably be picking up the phone, staying in touch with them, just making sure they know who we are again. But that's opportunity. Facebook list is real simple. It's cheap. And until Facebook takes it away, we need to use it. I'm telling you, 20 minutes a week in there just connecting with people, you won't miss and you're actually listening to what they're talking about. Okay, tactical. You heard this before earlier, but this is more important than ever with social. Short form video. Not just video anymore, short form. Right? And the reason, let's face it, YouTube has always been the driver of this stuff, except YouTube got learned a lesson, schooled real quick. And they got schooled by TikTok. They did, and Reels. Let's just be honest, both. Why? 60-second videos that we can flick through based on our attention span and our desires and our needs, and we move to what we want. When I did a session on TikTok for a group, I asked some middle-aged real estate agents, I said, how are you guys using it? I said, who's active on TikTok? Not a big core of them. And a few of them said, yeah. I said, how are you using it? And they said, we just use it to search. Really? Not just a time waster when you're stressed out to kill an hour or two of your life? Like, no, we just search. We search it like Google. We search for real estate ideas, we search it for this, we search it for that. It's just like YouTube. They find the videos they want and get rid of all the nonsense. So short form video, 60-second video content, whether you like it or not, and 60 seconds is hard to do sometimes. I know it goes longer, you can go 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but the real time attention is in that 60 seconds. Right, so short form, they're creating a lot of short form. And guess what? One short form video I could put on almost all 3 or 4 of those platforms. So I don't have to do more work, right? Here was a lesson for me. Take a look at that screen. How many of you are here? How many of you, that's your life? Yeah? Anybody? A little unorganized? So I learned a lesson about 4 or 5 years ago coaching a group. I was asked to go do a mastermind, actually in Miami, Florida, with 6 teams that were all generating they were all spending $100,000 a month or more on online advertising. So it was either Google pay-per-click, Facebook ads, realtor.com, Zillow, $100,000 a month or more. So the whole premise of this mastermind was, how do I get my cost down on leads? Right? If I'm paying 15, how do I get it to 7? If I pay 7, how do I get it to 2? It was like masterful. They knew their numbers, they had their admin, their staff, everything. Well, it all came down to this. As I'm listening to all this, we're talking about people, and we're almost forgetting that these are humans behind all this. It was so numeric. So when I said, we're talking about leads all the time, I go, what's the value of a contact? And they looked at me like, what do you mean a contact? I'm like, a contact. They didn't know what I meant. So like, are they looking to buy a house? I'm like, no, a contact. Like, nothing. I'm like, whoa, you are missing a lot of money. So they just stared at me. I said, let's figure this out. I said, a contact is still a person. It's someone with a phone number and an email address. What's the value of that? And they said, we got to figure this out, because they had pages and pages and thousands of these that were pretty much sitting there doing nothing. So I went through this exercise with them. I'll go through it real quick with you. It's this. If I asked you guys, if I defined a contact as someone you just met out in the lobby, you got a business card, you got a name and an email address, what's that value? Because many times, if I ask this question, if I gave you my business card today, where is that business card in 6 months? Be truthful. Trash or garbage somewhere. I used to lose FSBOs underneath my car seats. Right? My wife's in the back, she knows this. I'd find stuff written on a notepad I forgot to call back, open house stuff I never followed up with because I was so busy. You know how much value? So I want you to have sweats and nightmares thinking about the money you're losing right now when I get through this exercise. How many contacts do you think you need to add to a database? If you added them to a database, properly nurtured them, talked to them, connected with them, how many throughout the period of 1 year do you think you need to meet to turn one of them or someone they know into one transaction? And they're your numbers. You think about your own numbers. How many? Think about it. How many contacts? Regular people, how many? How many contacts do you think? Do you need 50, 100, 1,000? How many do you think you need to turn one of them into a sale in 1 year? So it could be 10%. So if you said, if you had 100 contacts, you think you would turn into 10? All right, so how many do you think you need to turn into 1? 10 contacts to turn into 1 sale? That's pretty good. 10 contacts? That'd be awesome. It's your numbers. Yeah, it's good. Some people, anybody else got a different number? How many contacts? Cold, not buying a house, not interested. About 1,000, okay. So 1,000 safe, 1,000 people, turn it to 1. Give me one more number. I'll take the medium of all this. One more number. 500, good. Okay, so those are your numbers. Jot your own numbers down real quick. Do the math. What's the average gross commission check in your market? Give me an average gross commission check in your market. 15 grand. Give me an average in yours. Any market you want. $1 million. Oh God, I'm hanging with you more. What else? And whatever the number is. Take that number, divide it by the contacts. What's the average value of a contact? Now, everyone's got different markets across the country. Anybody got a number? I can think commissions in my head, so somebody hopefully can come up with a quick number. Take the dollar amount divided by the contacts. What do you got? 150 bucks? 150 bucks. Now, imagine every sticky note, everything that's not written down, or that's written down not in a CRM, not being nurtured on a piece of paper somewhere, is a $150 bill. How would that feel? Would you leave it as $150 if it was sitting there as $150? No, never. We see it as people, because we see it as something that's not valuable. Now we're talking hundreds or thousands. We just don't look at them as people. Here's the averages so far across the country, just to show you real numbers. I've done the math with others. Is $8,000 is their average gross commission. 100 contacts most felt they would have turned into one sale. That's 80 bucks. Every sticky note's 80 bucks. All right, I wouldn't, trust me, if you're in this business and you have those sticky notes running around, or pieces of paper, or business cards that are on your desk and not doing anything with them, or on the bottom of your purse, they're still people that not only will they buy something, someone they know will buy something. So I want you to have nightmares about that one. All right, how about dead leads? Anybody have a list of dead leads? Dead, I mean dead. Like, they're not calling me ever. I'm never calling them back ever. Like, I'm done with them, right? I'll take them. Would y'all give them to me? Like, give me the list. I'll take them. Like, just give them to me. Email them to me. Would you email them to me? Whoa, referral fee. You said they're dead. These are people you're never calling ever again in your life. You're like, they're done. Some people are like, no, I'm not giving it to you. What do you mean? What are you holding on to? You're holding on to people you're never going to call again, and they never called you, ever. So let me promise you there's money there too. And here's why. I know, and I had to learn over time, that I'm not the best on the phone. Like, my personality, I'm better in person. I'm okay on the phone. But guess what? When I called them, it wasn't the right timing either. 6 months from now, a lot of things happen in their lives. I also know that if you picked up the phone and I gave you my list, you might have better tonality, better time of day, ask better questions, and they seem to like you better than me, so they'll talk to you and turn it into a conversation when I couldn't get anywhere. But I just was so fed up, I'm not calling them again. So, and I know this because when we work with teams and they get fed leads through, let's say, Follow-Up Boss, and I got all these leads going here in a bucket, and all these leads are crap. Coach, all these leads are garbage. They're all junk. Okay, well, he's no longer on the team. We take those 500 leads, we give them to 100 to each team member, and guess what? On average, we convert 4 of that 500. We found out 3 people bought a house not from them, and we found out 5 more people are in the pipeline for future business, but they all stunk. Right? So you had dead leads, there's money there. Either you go work them, find someone that can, get a VA, but I'm telling you now, there's money sitting there because we prove it all day long, and it's time that makes the life events happen we have to pay in touch with. Right? Moving along. Referrals. Y'all, I don't know if you guys have these on your business cards. I don't want to insult anybody by that, but I'm never too busy for a referral. Ever. Except this. How much time and money do we spend earning a referral? I mean, earning. Because guess what? Have any of you been in the business long enough to sell a house, 5, 6 years later goes by, there's a sign in the ground to sell it again and it's not yours? Yeah, I know. It's brutal. It's painful. I used to be so angry and realized that was my fault. It was really my fault. I just screwed up. Like, I didn't do the things that I needed to do to nurture. And here's the problem. Here's our problem that gets created today. If we don't stay human with people, not just because of an automated email system, now I'm not saying automation is bad, but it cannot be your only go-to. And I joke a lot by saying, how many of you have some kind of an automated marketing system that goes out to past clients? Right? I know hands are tired at this time of day, but like, we got something, right? It goes out. Let me ask you this. If you were your own customer, you're the consumer, and you're getting your own emails on the Saturday or whenever you send them out, automation, sometimes you don't even know when they go out, would you even open your own emails and would you go, this is an awesome email. I love this content. Or would you like, what the hell is this? Who's sending me this crap? How would you feel about your own emails? Most people are like, I think it's garbage. I don't need to tell anybody it's time to clean their gutters. Like, I think it's like, because it's fall. It's time to clean your gutters. Like, we get these automated generic ones. That's not human. Matter of fact, what you're doing is annoying your customers because you're spamming them with digital junk. And here's our bigger problem, is we have clients every day go to Facebook, to any community group, and vet strangers. So here, I'm looking for a plumber possibly to come to my house. This person that made this post bought a house 10 months before this post. She needs a plumber. She's vetting strangers on Facebook when my question is, why didn't you call your realtor? Imagine if she called her realtor. Would that be valuable for a customer to actually call us and go, I could use your help? Like, yeah, sure, what can I do? And you know why? They only see value in us most of the time as list, buy, sell, lease. No other value. There's no, like, they don't see us as having all this other stuff. So I had to find a solution to this. So I went outside the space and I said, okay, who's doing a really good job at this? You guys all know this company, right? When you think about Apple, why are they worth trillions? Is it because they make the best phones in the world? Yeah, they're good phones. The best computers, the best watches, the best TVs, the best credit cards? No. They have all that's good, and they have good service and pretty marketing and packaging. Yeah, all good. They created an ecosystem. They created an ecosystem for everything that we need in our lives is here. Think about it. I need email, it's here. Camera, it's here. Video, it's here. Search is here. I need to do anything, it's here. It's forcing me into the system. So when I say the word real estate, anything that comes up about real estate, why aren't your clients calling you? They're going to Facebook and asking strangers. So we need to work on creating an ecosystem. Something that creates value. Like if I did this thing with the pizzeria or the landscaper or the car, that's content that my consumers might actually pay attention to because it's local. We create marketing campaigns in Canva that are very custom to that area. Like it would be Short Hills happenings. What are the 5 coolest things happening this month in Short Hills? They might read that because it's cool stuff happening in their town. Here's 5 really important things happening around your house. Here's a great landscaper I've used. Here's another one I've used. That's the ecosystem because they should be calling you. And they don't. And until we solve that problem, we're missing opportunities. So creating an ecosystem is a strategy. Can't get too deep into it today, but we got a lot of content that shows you what to do, how to do it, and how to build off that. But we got to become our own ecosystem. You personally, the brand, needs to be an ecosystem. Next, you got to differentiate yourself, and I'm getting close, so I'm going to wind it down in 5, is ways to differentiate. Now, I could probably come up with 5 or 6 tools that can create differentiation. I'll just share with you one. It has to also solve a problem for me too. But we watched during pandemic, post-pandemic, and the evolution of a simple product called Keynote.io, which I know Caroline knows very well, right? We look at things like, how would I use this to differentiate me? And what it is if someone said, hey, Jeff, I'm thinking about listing my house, can you send me some stuff? Like, send me a package. Now, some of you might put together a package, envelope, or, nice, pretty brochure, folder, whatever it is. But if they said something digitally, what would you send them? It'd be an email, right? An email. What would be attached in that email? If you think about it, could it be a PDF flyer? Could it be a link to a YouTube video? Could it be a link to your website? It could be a link to my marketing plan. What does that look like as an email attachment? It's a hot mess. Like, you're not even sure if the stuff's going to open. If I had to put 4 or 5 things on an attachment, A, I don't even know what it looks like if they opened it. B, does it open properly? And then C, did I see anything about anything they looked at? So what Keynote created was the opportunity to take digital content of all mediums, PDFs, JPEGs. It could be about my team in a link, but it's in visual format, meaning that's a photo, that's a link, that's a video, and you get one link and send the customer that opens up into a pretty branded, fully branded platform that allows all of your mediums like a la carte. So one link could be your whole pre-listing package. It could be anything, to your website, YouTube, whatever it is. You can create another one that says, anybody calls me on Zillow, I'm sending them this. Why to work with me? Here's my Zillow reviews. Here's this, here's that. Could be one happens, hey, what happens after we go under contract? Here's all the things to do. So we're finding creative ways. There were people during COVID having everything prepped, meaning all the marketing. Here's about our team. Here's why to work with us. And all they did is they took the offer, dropped it in as a PDF, and sent that off to the seller's agent and the seller. Here's the beauty of it. You get all the data, everything they clicked on, everything they looked at, meaning they watched that one video on your Matterport tour for 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and they did it 5 times. Guess what they're thinking about, right? They opened my Zillow reviews 4 times, and they looked at every one of them. So now I get all the data tracking too. So whether you're using it for recruiting, building a brand, getting a listing, impressing a client, it's a simple solution. It's a link, it's textable, it's branded, and there's so many more uses we could share with it. These are samples of people. Now, I'll tell you a good hack if you want to write this down. This is fun. Do you ever want to see your competitions, like listing presentations and marketing? I always wanted to see what my competition was doing. If you go to highnote.io, there's a tab on their page called Resources. I should have a slide made up just for this. Resources. Click on it. It'll show you and give you links like, do you want to see people's listing presentations, buyer presentations, marketing, offer presentations? You click on it and you can open their actual presentations and see what they're putting in there. Really cool to do some intel as to what you should be adding to your marketing. I talked to High Note and they always said, listen, it's not that expensive, but at me doing coaching, I said, I want to make sure you give my clients a discount, but I'm going to let you guys use my discount code if you want. Now, my company, it's only $200 for the year if you want it, for all you want. You just got to use that little code and that thing, the QR code if you want it, for $200 to differentiate yourself in a marketplace with media that's changing all the time. Either way, what I suggest is go to Resources, and I want you to take a look at competitors' pages, because I think it's got some really cool ideas, and I'm glad they allow that up there, right? By brand, by anything else. Okay, I'll finish up here. I asked you about, I still love looking at people's paper business cards. I see all these cool things and I just laugh. Like, see that thing at the bottom, that F thing and that bird thing and that Google thing? What the heck are they doing on a piece of paper? What am I supposed to do with it? Am I supposed to push it? Like, it doesn't do anything. And I am shocked that the number one answer I'm getting is people will throw. I never thought people would just throw out business cards. I thought you would say it'd be on a pile, it'd be stuck in my purse or in my back pocket. But most audiences I ask, garbage in 6 months. I'm like, that's crazy, because I buy all the ones with the rounded edges and the thicker card and the plastic coating. Like, no more, no more. My number one job, get in your phone. If I'm not in your device, I lose. So I got to find a way to get in here. If I'm in here, I win. I'm not just saying a text message won't work, but there's probably 10 different types of companies that offer digital business cards. And I'm not saying just to get a digital business card. I want to share with you like 2 or 3 ways to make an impression. I'll show you the one I use. I don't care which one you use. There's probably 5 others that are just as good. But here's what you need. You need a really sexy mobile site, first of all, that shows all the icons, not just Instagram and Facebook, but like search for homes, like download my contacts into your phone. You can put any link you want in there. That's simple and easy. Now, I'm going to give you a couple quick geeky tips and make it real. The terminology NFC, near field communications, all it means is if you have like a little technology thing on your phone and you tap it, like watch the phone, and you tap it, automatically it would transfer that information to your phone. Now, that's sexy when it works. When it works. I say that only because some people have an old Android or have an old iPhone, I didn't update it, that you can bump it and you're like, that's not working. I got a thick case on mine, like I put a battery case on mine. It's not gonna work that way. So 2 things I did. I went to the QR code version where you could take any of these little trinkets, the ones you stick on your phone, the ones you have on your keychain, anything you want. My first mistake was I got cool about it and said, oh, you could brand those and put your own logo on those. So I put my logo on it. I'm thinking, that's good. It's got my logo, it's branded. Well, when the tap thing doesn't work, the next thing I want you to do is scan a QR code, but I didn't have the QR code. I'd have to pull it up on the phone. I said, all right, screw that. I'm making one of those circle things my QR code instead. I don't need my brand on there. So instead, I took the QR code from my little free account, and I uploaded that as what I want them to print on the actual little pop-up thing. It's right there. But then they did one up on me. See the little bigger one next to it where it says your logo here? Yeah, now you can put a logo and a QR code. So I bought that one too. I'm like, all right, I got that one. But here, the bottom line is, there's 3 ways to do this. The tap doesn't work, fine. Scan my QR code. Takes 2 seconds. Everybody and their aunts and uncles know how to do that. If you want to eat at a diner today, you're scanning QR codes, right? Third thing, though, is if for some reason you might have had this experience where someone's got one of them devices and they can't capture your code. They're moving the phone in and out, and the camera's not grabbing it. I'm like, screw that. I don't have time for that. So I went and said, they give you a URL link with your account, like a clickable link. Except it's like popple.co/Jeff Lobb $/ some other, like, oh crap. So I just went to GoDaddy. I said branding, right? Go to GoDaddy. I got jefflobb.social. because I have all the other jefflobb.whatever. Jefflobb.social simply forwards to my silly link, popple.whatever. So now I could just text you jefflobb.social, because when it comes into their phone, my name's in there. It's in their phone. They click it and open it, and it's branded. So that's my 3 ways around that. So there's my QR code. Feel free to scan that. Get your phones ready, too. I'm going to give you a free giveaway as a thank you for spending time with me today, short time. We do a lot of stuff on social and strategies and Instagram, but I put my team to work and said, for those who struggle with some of them, maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's Canva, we put together free ebooks, like downloadable PDFs with photos and arrows on what to click and how to click it. And we'll give them to you all right here for free. So you can scan that baby, take them, enjoy them. Hopefully, did you guys get a few ideas, a few nuggets, a few strategies, right? Thank you guys very much for your time. If I could ever help you guys, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.